Welcome back. You're still tuning to Guide Review on DGN. Now, this week, almost everybody has been talking about the gruesome alleged murder of 10-year-old Ishmael Mensah Abdallah by 16-year-old Felix Nyako and 17-year-old Nicholas Kinney. Joining me in the studio is Mr. Palgrave Boakye, the Executive Director of the Kanifo Institute, to share some views on this act. Welcome, Mr. Boakye.
Good morning to you,
Good morning.
very good morning to all your viewers.
Good morning
It's always
to you
good to be
too.
on the Guide Review.
Thanks for coming once again. Now, with this particular incident, what was the first thing that came into your mind when you heard the story?
So I particularly was very concerned that young people in their teen would engage in such an act. But be it as it may, I also have been looking at the value chain in terms of what has led to this. What has been the neglect from society, what has been the contribution as well from society to this. Yeah. But as we come back to it, we know very well that yesterday the world had a very sad news of the passing of the Duke of Edinburgh.
Yes, Prince William.
Prince William, and I think that we send
heartfelt
condolences to the British Empire.
Yeah, that's right.
But for young people must be actively engaged in some resource activities that will take their minds off such things.
Okay.
We have followed through the conversations. We have seen very clearly that this is something that has never happened in this country before. To have young people murder young people. And I mean, this is a critical case of minors. So here we have 3 minors that have been involved in an act, 16, 17, and 10. But the life of one is at stake, where the person is dead.
Is dead.
Death is not in a manner in which we can say that we can call the person back to life. And much as we condemn the act very strongly from these young ones, it's also important that we realize what has society done in its contribution. I don't watch television at all. But I know that the content, and I think the last time we were here, we were discussing that the content that is shown on a media space, be it social media on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or even the various television satellites, must be critically scrutinized, because then it's building an entire moral fabric which we would rise up one day to realize that we have contributed to building a monster without a notice. And we call on all stakeholders. The family unit for me is one of the first stakeholder when it comes to development of a child in terms of child psychology.
We perhaps blame the parents
we cannot blame pointing accusing fingers would be extremely difficult.
Not only in this context, but generally parental control seems to be.
We need a holistic context, and I'll tell you why. I mean, close to you have 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
If you multiply that by 5, you're almost having close to about 125 hours also in a week.
That's right.
You should ask yourself the question: how much time do parents spend with their children? Work takes the majority part of the life of the parents. Teachers play a critical role if they are involved in any religious activities. Their Sunday school teachers play a critical role, or their teen teachers play a critical role. If they are in some social groups as well, the leaders of those social groups play a critical role. And if you put all of that together, I mean, you would clearly know that, yes, I mean, everyone is playing a part of it. We have soon, in a very short time, migrated all around the world from a community raising up a child. And that has also become a great concern.
It is.
Because
concern.
Then I'm sure that people would clearly say that this child does not come from my home, but I do not care about the child. But you see, this is where we need to get back to those old norms. And I think that we spoke about the generational impact and the influence of that. This generation that we live in is a millennial and adaptable generation. What that clearly means is that they're a generation that would adapt to anything and everything.
Almost anything.
And so when young children are watching cartoons of Spider-Man and other things, and they're wanting to behave like the Spider-Man, it clearly tells you that some context needs to come to play. And I mean, I hope that they would follow through this beyond just the court cases, but be able to also clearly see a value system that is being missed out.
Okay.
That what can we do to these children to be engaged?
Okay.
I've been greatly concerned, and I've seen that if we don't gradually tackle streetism as a country, it would become a national security threat. And this clearly as well tells us that this is a national security threat.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that there are some harmful indications that these other young children might have done to their friends that might not have resulted in death. But these introductions of people seducing younger children's pedophiles and all these introductions of same sex and all those is a break of the moral fabric. And I think that as we condemn the act, it's important that the religious bodies, so the Catholic Secretariat, the Catholic Bishop Secretariat, the Christian councils, the Muslim units, it's important that they rise up to be able to condemn it. I mean, we know that Ghana is closely about 73% Christians and maybe 18% Muslims. And so if we look at the entire moral fabric, we can clearly say that Ghana is a religious state, even though by the constitution is secular. Be it as it may, if you go very deep down, I'm sure that if we ask these young children that were involved in these acts, we realize that they come from a religious home. The question would be, what has gone wrong? The neglect of parents, obviously, yes, that cannot be underestimated. Parents need to be extremely vigilant. When you give your smartphone to young children, it's important that you put a code on it where they are not able to easily access the internet. Because when you access the internet freely, there are times that adverts come on it. Those adverts can lead to certain things that you yourself might not, you might realize that it's not content for younger children. But people are selling products. And I think that we want to be able to build a country that has good value system. We want to have younger generation that would have value for life. What has clearly happened is younger people feeling that there is not a value for life, and that's serious.
We'll come back to that aspect. But then we went out there to get some views from Ghanaians about their general thoughts on this particular topic. So let's take a look.
Nkwala no omo hwe TV so ana omo hu akwamfo a omo be TV so omo ye fesika be diska eni ntina ma se ni bre ni bebura wo omo ekoku obi bakwa no ohu enti sa akwamfo na omo we TV so nyina wo se yi wo omo nyina efiri TV so omo na omo ma nkwala na ni briska enti na akwala ni sokuro opeka akesi adem ohu we hu sanadamfo da kem enti ono so pese okokum ni nia na ode kwagiska na ode kotoka yempe adwuma omo peska ntentem ale tani siri ni kurom abagana eton no smas ye ne wo omo na gina traffic eton desta Ghana ni be magina kwa ho hwinhwim nkrofo phone asi adwuma ni Ghana wujina ha oton fo ma wanu ama otais e di to dem okwa kan si adwuma ni ha na ala tani a wo firi ni kurom ekwa atenten aba a wo ton no smas ne desta no enu anya adwuma nkakra bibia ya hyase nkakra ne ya boaboa no na ya sika kese na ode aye bibi Ghana fo mema omum pebre omum pe adwuma
se nkwala no yenim adwen a eba omutirim ena normal no so no ya na ye parent no so omutumi egade nkwala no wo ze bia no wagya akwala ne nam na wakofa adamfo no so ntumi ma no adwempa ne bia akwala nso bia de obedi kura no edin nti bia adamfo no aka chense se no ene yenye no eno na yede ebeba ne tirim nti yesrese anytime bia na awofo no emme nkwala no muntumi hu ba bia nkwala na de efa because most of hwe nkwala se no mo ho aye kura na asesebe omu ni parent nso no omo wo awofo ti ze nka bia nka awofo no ben omo a ke bia sa anwoma no ensi ananka ma omo adwunum ti ebesrese tembia no awofo no me nkwala no mu se ne omo tie akwala wo pie kura ne bia wankra ne maame okoya di kura maame ni nimba bi ede oko Inti yɛsrɛ sɛ woba kora apie a busan sɛ ɔkɔ he anaasɛ sɛ woba no kora akɔtɔ adeɛ no ɔfa damfoɔ bi a hwɛ sɛne adamfoɔ no wɔteɛ akɔla yɛsusua ɛdɛ na 14 years ne 17 years deɛ adwen wɔ ba ne tirim sɛ ɔkɔgye sikaduro ɛtie sɛ ɛso TV bɛyi ɛne TV ahokyerɛ ɛna aba ebia papa ne ni bi maame ne ni bi papa no ne maame no de akwala no aba kurom wohwɛ sɛ kre ha yɛwɔ nkwala bebree a ɔmo ne nam ha a wofoɔ kraa no wo wɔte aso otu obi bayira ne maame wɔ yi wo sɛ sɛ akora bi afa ha wakɔtɔ ɔdan nem ne maame wɔ yi ti yɛsrɛ sɛ awofoɔ no anytime bia no ɔmbɛbɛn nkwala no
because of enuofoɔ no ɔmo adɔɔso akonfoɔ ɔmo adɔɔso radio so TV so ɔmo yɛ advert de ɔmo nam atoto wɔn ɛte sɛ deɛ obi tɔn adeɛ no ɔde ne nneɛma akɔ TV so sɛ mekɔyɛ advert sɛ deɛ ɛbɛyɛ bɛtɔn adeɛ no wama ne kwan mana ba TV so abɛyɛ sa nti ɛsɛ aban saa nneɛma no wɔtwam TV stations ne radio stations a ɔmo ma akonfoɔ ɛne malamfoɔ ɛbɛyɛ advert de ɔmo nam egu hɔ no ɛsɛ saa nneɛma no nyinaa wɔtwam because ɛnyɛ no na ɛwɔ hɔ a first no ɛden pa sɛ wɔbɛte sɛ young boy akwaduro sɛ wɔkɔgye sikaduro ɛnyɛ easy 15 years and 18 17 years ɛdeɛ na ɔmo de sika ɛyɛ nti me deɛ ɛwɔ mu ni sɛ ɛsɛ aban no ɔtwa saa nneɛma no mu
me dwen ho a like me hu sɛ de me hu asɛm a menka abro ma adwen ne mente ase so sɛ nka bia nkwala no nka ɔmo yɛ bia above 20 years deɛ a ɛno deɛ nka but nkwala 16 years deɛ me say when I was 16 years no na me hu sika kwa bi 100 cedis kwa na me nso mu da enti me nim ade a ba sa nkwala ne tim a nkwala 16 years mutim koku mo yonko edigi sika duro enti me deɛ la ya kase yenku me say me ba de a na wa yɛ ne sa de ameku ba say me kase bia yenku e bia na mara nkyerɛ sa ba yɛ mpemfie bi a ɛna mo se fata nsɛ ɛfa punishment bi say bia the 50 years and I say 70 years ya yes because ama ya nyambra sempa me hu ade akwala keto me nim ade ya hanto sika wo disca dey say bia orbeto mpabo ahya to atare ahya keke wo kokun akwala say bia 16 years ya won kwala wo circle ha omo won kura no omo ye omo ndu da age no by the end of the day no ubenya wo kakra do akwala de unya wo 20 Ghana kura na it's enough for you ba so kokun obi ba de nti oye for muntum yempe be 50 years enya kura de 50 years empa nko muntum nti o meba no wanya be 67 aha na o say na brabo be san koyi a na say so owu na say reincarnation o wa ampa de a oba o de be sia nyansa
nkura na asem de wote a eya because dia na be ka akura be 16 years 17 years say onkum ni nua keto na say akura keto ni dia so ordinary ko disika akura nde no ohu me madwe kakra me kan say ana say de nim say e man kwa ne yes ana say mebre mu obi a eye sa TV stations ni radio stations na omma malam ni asofofo binum betna say no mu display ye shows bra me mos ka me ye say because ono oba obetna say ska obeyi wo ho no so oyo obi a wadwe mu nyam atro de a na say aho kire wo so abedo bekwa akofolu because okosu wi a uwasi wadwe mu poso pesika okoso a okakire wa why you say skanti na akoye nde ubedi awu ba wudie na wudi unim se bia ebetima achew ama ho asemabo wo de wadwe nyina ko discuss because ka akura 17 years unka wo school ye tabe wo 17 na adopa ne do ne edidi because papa ti won onji skadro na akura keto wa kwa jiskadro se si ana se scan bawia ombu ni papa.
Okay, so those were some views from some Ghanaians. But Mr. Boakye, is it true or do you agree that the youth of today prefer quick wealth to hard work?
Well, I would not agree entirely. I would just say that, if you put the youth on a scale, you need to be able to weigh it holistically. Mm-hmm. So you should be able to say that some young people that do not acquaint themselves to education would find leisure in doing other things that will bring quicker money.
Okay.
So we know that typically it will take you close to about 9 years to finish your basic education. If you add 3 extra years to that, that makes it 12 to finish a senior high. If you do 4 years to it, that makes it 16 years to finish your basic first degree. And so if you have gone through 16 years of basic tertiary, I mean, for either from junior high to senior high to university, and you get employed, for someone who fell out either at junior high and couldn't continue, you become an envy of society. When you start becoming an envy of society, then the people want to catch up with you. But we cannot generalize entirely that young people are lazy and are looking for quicker money. What we can say is that a sizable percentage of young people who fall out of education would want to match up with their contemporaries at their age of academic pursuit in terms of material wealth.
Based on what they see.
Based on what they see. But they do not realize that it takes hard work and it takes time and patience. And so, and it's also in the manner in which we have allowed certain things to decay in our society. We know of the young people that have been involved in internet fraud. I mean, at a point, it was young people in their 20s, young people in their 30s. But gradually, if it's beginning to lower down, then that should be a greater concern. But what that means is that we didn't frown upon the 20s involved in internet fraud and the 30s in internet fraud.
Now, parents and families do not question the wealth
which is why, for me, I'm particularly excited that there is a cybersecurity that has been set up under the Ministry of Communication to ensure that all these things are kept. But then also people need to be brought to the law when people in all around the world, if your wealth is questioned, you are asked how you had the money, because then either private investigators or even the police would investigate to find out from you what you do that has caused you to have this. I don't know if we have that in Ghana, but if we do not, it's important that we bring that to play. If we see, I have a greater concern where I've seen young people drive very expensive vehicles and they never register those vehicles. It's always a DV or a DP. And I'll tell you the truth, yesterday, my heart was deeply broken. I mean, and I've seen it several times. I drove past one barrier late in the night at about 11 p.m., getting into midnight. And the driver in front of me was driving an unregistered vehicle. Just right before my eyes, the policeman took money and made the man drive away. You know, so I mean, how are we going to solve these issues? How are we going to, I mean, you should be able to have a strong value system to say, I am here to check for the safety of the people. I'm here to check to ensure that whoever is driving a particular vehicle, it has either not kidnapped someone, is not carrying arms, is not carrying anything illegal.
We are okay.
And we seem to be very okay. And we can't grow a society like that.
No, we can't.
I wish, I mean, I was very tired, but I'm sure.
You should have questioned the policeman.
You know, questioning the policeman is not the end of the game. And I'll tell you what, after he noticed that I'd seen that he had taken money, he didn't even check me.
Just look at that.
Because then he had noticed that.
Just look at that.
You understand?
Are we safe in this country at all?
So for me, we need to have a broader conversation, because these happenings tells us very clearly that we are sleeping with our legs outside of the home. And we very soon we would realize that people will start taking the future into their hands. And when they start doing that, that clearly defines that, yes, we have a moral fabric that has been destroyed. And so parents as well have a key role to play. When you are a parent, you have a clear responsibility over the well-being, holistic well-being of your child. What does that mean? What that means is that beyond putting shelter, beyond putting clothing, you should ensure that whatever your child is feeding on mentally, socially, you should ensure that you have a key role in it. Younger children who reach adolescence, who might not necessarily know that if you get into adolescence and you are breaking your voice and you're beginning to develop your breast and all of those other things, and so you're going to be attracted to the opposite sex. I mean, if all of these educations are not going on, they begin to practice what is being seen on the television and what their friends are saying, which is why I think that various stakeholders, NCA, media houses, everybody must be able to rise up to leadership. Rise up to leadership to ensure that what you are putting on your content it's adding up to your own value system. Why do you put up things that do not add up to your value system as a result of money? I've been greatly surprised that we have allowed traditional worshippers, leaders of traditional worshippers, to come and be on the airways. And they are there every time. They are showing young people what to do. And they are doing magic with money. I mean, I watched one, you give him money and it multiplies.
I mean, the money doublers.
These people, all of these people must be arrested. You are either arrested or you're not given the opportunity, because TV is extremely powerful.
But some are also of the assertion that it's because there are no jobs in the country. And in a way, they're blaming government as well for not creating enough jobs.
When we put
we
everything,
all want to get money.
When we put everything at the doorstep of government, I think that we are failing. We are failing as a country. Government is you and I. Government is not just the people that have been elected. Government is both a relationship between the ruled and the ruling. And so we form part of government. We cannot leave the sole responsibility to the creation of job to government. I mean, I stated on your beautiful network last week when I came that yes, it's important that we look at population census. I mean, every single year there are young people that come out of tertiary institutions who cannot get into the labor market. And the conversations are that if you cannot get into the labor market, try and employ yourself or do something that is sustainable. Do something that will bring dignity. Be it as it may as well. I mean, yes, there's a role that government plays in job creation. As we encourage government to create more space, and government should have the muscle and the finances to be able to take on more people. That way as well, yes, you'll be able to curb a lot of these things. But the crime that has been happening, especially in recent times this week, are young people that are not even employable. These are 16 and 17-year-old young people. They are not employable. If they are supposed to be engaged in active academic and educational sectors, they should be in their senior or junior, finishing junior and getting into senior. They should be in school.
At least government has come out to help them out. They're trying.
They should be in school and ensure that whilst you're in school, beyond taking your academics very seriously, you're also engaged in some social activity. When we were in school, I was in Boy Scouts. I mean, some ladies...
Does it still exist anyway?
Boy Scouts does exist. I'm very sure that it does. Boy Scouts, Girls Guide. When I was in high school, I was in wildlife. So there are various groups that you can join. But also, I'm very certain that these young people that were involved in these acts might have senior mentors that were coaching them to do these things.
Yes.
And so it calls for a lot more vigilance on some people have senior brothers who are bad. Some people have senior sisters who are bad.
For they've been doing a whole lot of things, not just with these boys,
Absolutely.
but there are quite a number of people out there doing
True.
very, very evil stuff.
True.
Much the blind side of the police and the media.
So, I mean, everybody must be on the lookout. I mean, this calls for a rude awakening to everyone, because if it's happening to someone's 10-year-old child, it can happen to ours.
Yes.
And we need to take a closer look at it. And I mean, I hope that we don't. I'm sure that they are going to bring in juvenile issues and all of that.
Of course.
But some crime goes beyond. This is murder. Murder.
Like one of the guys we interviewed said, if they've been wise enough or be evil-minded enough to know that we can kill this person to get money, they're being adults. They are thinking like adults, so they should be given the adult punishment.
I do agree entirely. But sometimes, I mean, the law goes ahead of us, you know.
Anyway, so traditional rulers are also out there preaching against violence-related movies, movies that portray moral decadence, especially in our society. We see lesbians, gays, right in front of us on our screens. Wherever we go to, they're talking about them. We are seeing them on our movies, on our TV screens. I don't want to mention names, and I know some people are going to come at me, but let me just chip in this. I was very happy with the response the Speaker of Parliament gave the Australian ambassador when he went to visit him to talk about passing a bill or thinking about the rights of these LGBTQI community. And Mr. Speaker, if you're watching me, or if there's anybody in your camp watching me, please know that I doff my hat to you for your response. It was apt. We need leaders like you. Thank you for that response. Now, do you see a revolution happening with this?
Revolution is a very huge word, especially in our context as a country. And I think that we need to move away from revolutionarism because many people that are in their 80s and 70s, I'm not sure they want to remember the days of the revolution. But I can understand what you mean. I mean, like maybe what happened in Eastern Europe, Orange Revolution and all of that. But maybe what I would say is that what I see in terms of the future of this country is that we need to be able to identify our Ghanaian identity and our Ghanaian value system. You saw what happened to Floyd in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And I mean, you saw how the Black Americans rose up, and we followed the cases and we've seen how far it's gone. America has come a very long way in terms of its journey, and they keep fighting against some of these things. If we don't clamp and clip the whims and caprices of these things happening in this country. I mean, Ghana is only 64 years old. I mean, I keep saying that we're a baby country.
You think so?
Absolutely. I mean, we're a baby country. 64 years old is just like being 6 years old.
No.
You understand? No. So we need to be able to clamp these things so that it doesn't grow up into a big monster that we cannot deal with.
How do we do this?
So it's much more education, like what we are doing now. It's much more sensitization of the media space. There must be a total cleanup. There must be a total cleanup.
I agree.
We shouldn't put money ahead of our value system.
I agree.
I mean, we shouldn't put money ahead of our value system.
That's what the speaker did.
Yes.
Can't buy my mind.
Absolutely.
Not at all.
And so we need to have a total cleanup of the media space. We need to call and shame some media houses and some content that is being done. If content are coming from other countries, I mean, like other continents, be it Asia or Middle East or some parts of the continent, it's an introduction of a culture. And I'm not sure that we are used to that culture. I mean, Africans have a culture of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is unitedness.
Yeah.
Ubuntu is family.
Yeah.
Ubuntu is togetherness. I mean,
Yes.
out there is a culture of individuality, individualism. I mean, you are in your own space, you are in your own sector. And we need to encourage more of our own movie industry, because more of our own movie industry will portray more of our own Ghanaian rich heritage, which we don't have that now.
I see the NFA doing something related to that.
We look forward to that. When we were growing up, there was a can drama. I mean, there was Thursday, something. They used to show Inspector Bediako on Thursday. You know, and those, there's been movies that have migrated. There was Things We Do for Love. A lot more, so that people would experience they would get to understand what happens in the tertiary education and all of that. So we should move away from importing other cultural movies it will change the entire moral fabric of the country. And then we need to be able to develop our own. So we talk about wear made in Ghana clothes. If we talk about wear made in Ghana clothes and we talk about eat made in Ghana food, we should be able to say that whatever is shown on our television is purely made in Ghana.
Yes,
if you go to other countries, even on this continent, I mean, whether you go to Kenya or you go to Rwanda, I mean, a lot more of their content is local. A lot more of their content is extremely local, and that is what we need to we encourage. Because what these young people have done, you should clearly see that it's alien to the Ghanaian culture and heritage.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for your input. But before we go, I would like to say congratulations on being the licensed operator of the Head of State Award scheme. Your institute happens to be the licensed operator, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so for those out there who want to be part of this scheme, what does it take?
Okay, so thank you very much. Once you mentioned the Duke of Edinburgh International Award Scheme, which is proudly delivered in other countries in different names. In Ghana, it's called the Head of State Award Scheme. We were licensed last year, March 2020. The board chairperson for the Duke of Edinburgh International Award Scheme is Mr. Harris Boakye. And then the executive director for the Head of State Award Scheme is Peter Akayano. So what they sought to do really is that His Royal Highness Prince Williams, who's gone to be with the Lord yesterday, founded this award scheme primarily to be able to get young people between the ages of 14 right up to 24 to be involved in community service, be involved in voluntary act. And so the award scheme stipulates that if you there are 3 levels of the award scheme. So there's the silver, there's the bronze, there's the silver, and then there's the gold. And if you are 14 years old and you do an activity for 6 months, at the end of the activity, you'll be evaluated and then you'll be awarded a silver award, no, a bronze award. If you are 15 and above and you do an activity for 1 year, you'll be awarded with a silver award. If you are 17 and above to 24 and you do an activity for 18 months, you'll be awarded with a gold. Instead of going to watch someone change money on television and tell you to kill a young boy and get sikadro and all of that, we are saying that come and apply those energies into a voluntary act. What can you do in your community? Is it picking garbage once a month? Is it picking coconut husk? What can you do in that community to be able to bring transformation? What can you do in terms of volunteering? So the award house has been, the sword cutting has been done. Is going to take 36 weeks to build. And government is supporting with 1 million Ghana cedis. The president in his speech did solicit for funds from civil society organizations and business persons and contractors to raise the remaining 4 million Ghana cedis. And we at Kandifo Institute has various platforms that we've established for young people to be involved in. So we state that like this incident that much a time you would hear that it's been done by elderly people. Now we see that it's coming to younger people being involved in criminal acts, murder. So it means that a 14-year-old, if a 16-year-old can commit murder, it means that a 16-year-old can be employed in an organization to work. It means that your medulla oblongata and everything has been formed. So we invite young people between the ages of 14 right up to 24 to sign on to the Kandifo Institute Head of State Award Scheme, pick up a voluntary act, and along the year, you would be given an award medal. All
right. Thank you, Mr. Boakye Dankwa, for coming. Well, viewers, this is where we wrap up on the show. It's been wonderful doing this with you. My heartfelt appreciation to my guest, Alhaji A.M. Gromda, Chief News Editor of Daily Guide, Mr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa of the Kandifo Institute. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll come your way again same time next week. Until then, be safe. Bye-bye.